أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا شفينا حبيبنا مرشدنا محمد نبي الأمي وعلى أهله وصحبه وأهل بيته وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا شفينا حبيبنا مرشدنا محمد نبي الأمي وعلى أهله وصحبه أهل بيته وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا شفينا حبيبنا مرشدنا محمد نبي الأمي وعلى أهله وصحبه أهل بيته وبارك وسلم إلهي بحق فاطمة قرقل إيماني إلهي بحق فاطمة قرقل إيماني إلهي بحق فاطمة قرقل إيماني शाह अस्त हुसैन बादशाह अस्त हुसैन दीन अस्त हुसैन दीन पनाह अस्त हुसैन सरदार नदाद दस्त दर्द दस्त यजीद हक्का के बिना ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाहु अस्त हुसैन बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम नाद अली मजहर अजाइब तजदहु औ अन लकफ़िन नवाइब कुल्लुन हमिन व गमिन सयंजलि बिअज़मतिक या अल्लाह बिनबूतिक या रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम बिविलायतिक या अलियु या अली अदरिकनी फ़ी सबीलिल्लाह अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला सय्यिदिना मुहम्मदिन व अला आलि व सय्यिदिना मुहम्मद व अज्जिल फरजुम. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, brothers and sisters in Islam. Today we are going to cover a topic which is about true meditation, muraqabah in Arabic, and why we have put this presentation together. There are a lot of presentations available online and a lot of techniques available today. One of the feedbacks that I have got from Salix in this path is that they try and do muraqabah or meditation for some time, and whether it is zikr or it is meditate on an object, it could be the Kaaba or anything. They say that after some time they are not able to proceed further, they feel stagnation. Some of them say that they are not able to do it consistently, and after some time they just stop practicing because they feel lost. So after careful thought, a slide deck of around 40 slides have been put together. Inshallah, the way we're going to approach this particular presentation is we're going to explore deeper, not just doing some breath meditation or something, because that is pretty easy. Okay, and really it is just scratching the surface of meditation. And what we're going to cover in this presentation, and believe me, brothers and sisters, if you go through this 40 slides, I'll make every effort this brother can to go as much as to the depth of the meditation techniques as much I can do online. There are some techniques which have to be given firsthand because that's how it works. But what can be shared online will be shared online. Now, having said that, the way we are going to approach this particular topic is we're going to find out what is the prerequisite of meditation. Nobody talks about that. Everybody says, close your eyes, and concentrate on your breath, slow down your breath, all those kind of techniques. Some people give zikr and, different la ilaha illallahu zikr and, you know, Allah zikr. Naqshbandi tariqat gives you that zikr. Qadriya gives you another zikr. But nobody talks you the prerequisite of the zikr. And today we are living in the end of times, and it's very important for a seeker who's really trying to cover the distance that is needed to reach illallahu, and he's feeling lost, that these topics should be discussed, because if you're not going to discuss what are the prerequisites of getting into true meditation, unfortunately, you're going to waste time and you feel lost. Okay, so brothers and sisters, again, there's no promise that these are going to be 10 or 15-minute presentations. There's no way, because we're covering a whole range of topics here. And my advice is, if you're short of time, just come back to it whenever you have time and keep going in stages. I'll try and finish this off in one sitting, because that's when how the flow of information is better for me. Okay, so not wasting any more time, let me go into the next slide. This is a disclaimer which I put all the time. Again, the reason being that there are a lot of topics which are discussed here, which is not available at the level of Sharia. I really don't want to get into the, you know, confrontation or argument, with anybody. This is a Sufi way of life, and you know, experience is what it matters. The level of knowledge that you read from books will only help you up to a certain level. So again, brothers and sisters, whatever is covered here is from mashaykhs who have taught me and given me uh, insight uh, into the muraqabah. And if there is any error, it's because of my own shortcomings. Okay, please make dua for me, inshallah. Let's go right into it, to the next. Now, we go right into what is true meditation. First is, for whenever we do any action or we take up any assignment in life, there is always a purpose. So let's see what's the purpose of meditation. What is needed in this life, when Allah gives you a life and you're born into a mother's womb, 9 months, 10 days into conception, when you come into this world, what is needed is a order is needed in your life. The universe itself is, mashallah, running like a well-oiled machine, which is controlled by the kudrat of Allah. Now, when we human beings enter this particular beautiful universe, we have a free will. Now, the free will is a double-edged sword, right? You can use it to contribute to the better, or you can use it to have a negative impact to the world. So the true meditation, actually what it does is that it takes you to your innermost self, which is your true being, which is connected to Allah, which is your soul, and the outer world and the inner world. The outer world is the world of interaction you have with your family, your friends, your society, and whoever comes across you in this long life that you have here. From the from the time you're a toddler to an infant, to a child, to a young boy running around, to a teenager, to a young man getting married, becoming a husband, then becoming a father, inshallah, and then slowly becoming a grandfather, and then leaving this world. That's what the normal trend of most of the human beings in this world. So, going through all these roles and different challenges in the life, um, we need to have a clear mind and a vision, so that we are successful when we go back to Allah. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. We come from Allah and we go back to Allah. And we are accountable to the Maliki Yawmiddin, to the Master of the universe. So again, the purpose of true meditation is, we are energy beings. Okay, we're not just solid state. 72% of our body is made of water. Um, so it's a combination of earth, fire, water, air, ether. Now these five elemental energies, it does gives rise to energy. So energy which is generated from this uh, five elements is, if it's under the control of the kalima of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Mustafa Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then it conforms to the laws of Allah, which is the Sharia. If it doesn't conform, then it can do harm to itself and also to the fellow human beings around him or her, or to the society in general. So the focus or the aim of true meditation is, man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. And this is the beautiful hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which says that a person who knows himself, he knows Allah. So to learn about oneself is part of our order. so that we don't create a state of conflict within ourselves and to the fellow creation of Allah who share the planet Earth with us at this time. So basically the point is that true meditation is intrinsically tied to our everyday life and not separate from us. And this is where I would like to differ right away, brothers and sisters, at this initial slide itself, that the technique, and we're going to discuss this in detail, but let me say this, the technique of let us sit for 15-20 minutes in the morning and meditate, that itself is an incomplete statement. Maybe initially, when a person doesn't know how to do muraqabah, you could say that, but as we go through these slides towards the end of it, you will inshallah realize that meditation is not a 15-minute job or 20-minute job in the morning and after that everything is going to be perfect. It doesn't work like that. Okay. And again, true meditation, it doesn't just happen. What that means is let me sit, close my eyes, I go into the zikr and it just happens. It doesn't happen like that. True meditation is a gift from Allah. You put in literally no effort. And believe me, brothers and sisters, I know this is maybe a little contradictory to all those people who have been doing some breath techniques and all that. And I know, given this example here, about love, you know, love is not something that you plan, for any human being or for even a pet in your house, it just happens, right? But it doesn't happen like I'm going to love somebody in after half an hour, or I'm going to go into meditation in the next 10 minutes. That is not meditation, brothers and sisters, because once you have experienced true meditation, then what I'm saying right now to you will make sense. If, because we are living in this world which has so much of chaos and confusion and a very fast life, where even if you go into this breath techniques and you start, watching your breath and slowing down your breath, some amount of peace does descend on every person. And people mistakenly, because they have no realization of what true meditation is, they think that this is a good enough meditation. Because if somebody is bombarded by 10,000 thoughts and suddenly that 10,000 thoughts now minimizes to 20 thoughts, that itself gives you some amount of relief. And when nobody out there is really going into the depth of it, of true meditation, there are so many versions available. But to get into illallahu, you need consistency all the time. So we're going to explore what it takes for a salik, a seeker, to go into true meditation. And then you yourself, brothers and sisters, you're intelligent people, you yourself can compare what is being said here and to whatever techniques you've been using so far, and try to compare yourself and do a study, and see, whether so far, if you're just doing a basic meditation technique, how effective it was, and if the techniques that will be you know discussed here, and um, the issues, the bottlenecks, solutions which will be discussed here, hope it helps you, inshallah. So let's go into the shortcomings with most of the meditation techniques as discussed a few minutes before in the previous slide. Let's go into meditation for the next 10 minutes. That itself is an incomplete statement, an incomplete experience. Okay. Watching our breath, doing a zikr, a mantra, again, this is not related only to Islamic uh, sciences or religion, I would say. I'm trying to keep it as general as possible. Mantras, this word comes from the Upanishad and the Vedas. It could be hymns, chanting, psalms from Dawood alayhi salam, whatever it is, So it's a matter of, for example, even Buddhist religion, they have a meditation techniques where they say Om Mani Padme Om, and that is a Buddhist way of. And I have studied, the Buddhist way, the Upanishad way, the Sufi way also, Naqshbandi Tariqat for a long time. So I have done comparative, and literally, brothers and sisters, all this is same. You know, it's just that it's a different. You go into a garden, and you find different flowers. You find the rose, you find jasmine, different flowers, and every flower is beautiful. So we need to learn to appreciate rather than not divide humanity. Okay, go. Let's move on. Try to control the monkey mind with another thought or instruction. The reason we are saying this thing is, and Hazrat Baba Muhyiddin, uh, my sheikh, he always says in his book that it is that the monkey mind is the most difficult thing to control. And in the purpose of the mind, again, we need to understand the limitation of the mind which Allah has given us. uh, Allah has given us two eyes. The purpose of the eyes is definitely to look around, is one of the most heavily used sense organs. It also sheds tears, and it's like it displays emotion, we could say. But the most important function is seeing. Similarly, the most important function of the brain is to generate thoughts. Okay, and thoughts, you don't have to tell the brain to generate thoughts; it will keep on generating thoughts. That's how it is. It's like if we have the sweat glands in our body, you don't have to instruct the sweat glands to generate sweat. You don't have to tell the heart to pump blood. It does it automatically. It's the you know uh, uh, autonomous nervous system, if I say it correctly. And so the point is that when I close my eyes and say I want to meditate, I'm literally, what I'm doing is I'm already telling my monkey mind, which is being bombarded with 10,000 thoughts, with another thought saying that I want to meditate. Now, this monkey mind, because so far true meditation has not been done, or maybe some breath techniques have been used, it's always going to go for a spin and say, oh, now what, man? There's another technique. This guy is burdening with another technique. And, to a certain extent, it will say, okay, I'm going to watch my breath go in and out, and all that. But believe me, after a few minutes, neither you are concentrating on your breath or neither on the zikr, and you will feel lost. If you say that I'm going to do this, religiously for the next 10 years, every day, half an hour, believe me, brothers, it's not going to happen. Okay. And there are reasons for that. So we're going to explore those reasons. The point is that shortcoming, which we are saying here, is trying to control a process like a thought that is already fragmented. A thought is, it's like an energy which just comes and goes, right? It doesn't stay constantly. So you're trying to control a process like thought that is already fragmented with another thought that I want to meditate, which is equally fragmented. And hence the unstable nature of this assignment that you're given to the brain. Okay. Now, doing this again, this is my theory. So, brothers, you don't have to, or sisters, you don't have to agree to me, but we are trying to have a discussion here. So, effort leads to frustration. This is the feedback I have got from a lot of seekers. They do not get a sense of fulfillment from the meditation which they are seeking to one's or to know one's own self, and they do feel themselves that they are not experiencing true meditation. The next bullet item is extremely important. Brothers and sisters, this is true to every word which is written there. True meditation transforms oneself completely. You are not the same individual anymore once you touch true meditation. It does not just change life a little bit here and there. It transforms you completely. So if somebody has been doing some sort of meditation for the last 2 years, 3 years, and all you have seen is minor changes here and there, it's time to explore much deeper. Okay, and that's the main reason why we have put this the slide deck together. So inshallah, my sincere effort here, hope it benefits you. If it doesn't benefit you, I'm sorry. This brother, is again a jahil. He's just trying to, go through his own life, trying to get to illallahu. Hope Allah's mercy descends and I reach where I need to go. Let's keep going. Now, what is the problem with this traditional kind of meditation technique that has been, advertised everywhere? It becomes routine. Whatever becomes routine, if you know that, the mind, how it works, anything that, if for example somebody buys a new toy, a new car, anything, right? Initially there is that excitement in the brain. After some time that, it becomes routine, and then slowly that excitement dies off, because that's how the brain works, the mind works. It needs stimulus all the time. So unless meditation is exploring in nature, it is not going to be sticking too much. It may not, it'll become routine. It's like if you're praying, without emotions, connected. For example, you sit and you say attahiyatullahi wa salawatu wa tayyibatu wassalamu alayka ayyuhan nabi rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. After that you say durud Ibrahim. So when I'm saying durud Ibrahim, I say durud and, peace and blessings for the family of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, and also on the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now at that time, if the sacrifice of Ummah Hajra, Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, of Ummah Amina, Abba Abdullah, Ummah Khadija, Ummah Fatima Zahra, Maula Ali, Maula Hassan, Maula Hussein, all those things don't come into my being, and I don't experience the tragedy of Karbala and all those, hardships that our beloved Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has faced to bring this knowledge of of Islam to us. Then it is all just a routine, mundane words which has been said. You're just doing it as a, what do you call, as an exercise. And you know itself that, it doesn't give you the satisfaction. Maybe it just gives you a sign of thing. Okay, I've done my Zohar prayer or Asr prayer, and the mind lets you at ease. If you are a, 5-time prayer kind of guy, if you're not, then that doesn't matter also. So again, muraqabah is something, why it is so important. And unfortunately, when you talk to the so-called Sharia Muslims, it's very, very important here, and I want to say this thing right away. They say, oh, what's the deal of muraqabah? Muraqabah is not fard, right? The 5-time prayer is fard. So I sometimes I really feel pity on these people. Really look at the sirat of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. When you study the sirah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam very deeply, from the age of 36, after 36 years, till he was proclaimed as the Nabi, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam spent 3 years in Gare Hira. He used to go first for, in the morning, come back in the evening. He used to eat few dates, drink some water. Slowly and slowly, the time that he spent in Gare Hira increased. And not only that, it was amazing that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sometimes would spend 3 days, come back, the same level of water in his, in his jug, or, the vessel he carried, the same amount of dates and the food, nothing changed. So basically, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, there was no revelation come to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. What Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was doing was muraqabah at that time. From the time it was contemplation. So brothers and sisters, this is the life of our Nabi. He did muraqabah before he started doing his salah. And here are the people who come back and saying, what, where is muraqabah in Islam? So again, what, I am not here to, win over any argument. I just brought this up. Okay, so let's keep going. Now let's discuss the hurdles that are the barriers during the meditation process. Okay, which comes in the way to experience the infinite self within my own being, which is my soul, and hence to connect to Allah and the nur of Allah, which is Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Okay. Now, before we are talking now, we are talking of the barriers. Okay. So the mind with the thought process that Allah has given us, it has a function. Okay. And the function is what? To survive in this world, right? Say suppose you're driving a car and you're driving at 40 miles an hour, and maybe there is a signal light, say 50 yards in front of you, and suddenly you say that, oh, see, the green light is turning into amber and will go into red. Automatically your leg will go release the accelerator and go onto the brake, and you slowly start applying the brake slowly and smoothly, so that you stop by the time you reach the signal light. So there is a purpose for the brain, the thought process, it generates signals in the brain, and then there are actions which are taken, which is important for surviving in this world, because we have come with a body and a soul. Now, the moment I say car and the red light, definitely if somebody is hearing this, you must have already thought about you sitting in the car and you thinking about a red light which you must have seen if you are in the city of Chicago. You would, oh, something which you pass every day, something must have flashed in your brain right there. So the point is the brain creates images and stores images. 80% of what the brain stores in our in our, I would say, database, is visual information, and the rest, the 20%, is sound or fragrance or taste, or or smell or fragrance. My point is that 80% of that is visual information is stored in the brain. For example, the moment I say, oh, I have a cat in my house, and if you have a cat in your house as a pet cat, immediately the brain will come back and flash the image of your cat in your house. So that's how the brain works. Now, the second point here is the moment of thought between past, present, and future. If I tell you, one of brothers and sisters who are listening to this, oh, what happened to you 10 years before? Immediately you're not going to say, oh, I'm in 2019 and I go back 9, 10 years. You might still do the calculation, but you're not going to remember exactly what happened to you 10 years before, because our mind has only limited capacity. What you would think is, okay, maybe I was in the 10th grade and some event which happened which was very different, not like getting up from the bed and going brushing your teeth. You're not going to remember that, right, on a particular day. Whether you got up from the left hand side of the bed or the right hand side of the bed, you're not going to remember that, but some event which happened. So the point is that as far as the human mind is concerned, the thought process which is saved, which is the images which are saved in the brain in the past, present, and the future, it that gives you the concept of time. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make it here is, this is very important, that time as far as the human mind is concerned is directly connected to the thought process. So whatever the image the brain can retrieve from your memory database, memory bank, is the concept of time you have of past, present, and future. Okay, and this is very important to understand right here. Concept of time is related to your thought process, and that thought process is stored in your brain as images. Okay, this is going to come back to you when you try to understand true meditation. Now, accumulation of various events, reactions, daily life, social interactions, influence of society, indoctrination, these are all trapped in thoughts. Okay, it could be a good event, a bad event, anything, but it's trapped in thoughts. Now, I'll make a statement here, may or may not make sense at this point, but let me say it anyway. Freedom from images is real freedom. In real freedom, there is no division brought about by images. Because what happens in a way is, these images, you might see a movie, or, for example, how when September 11th happened and the anti-Islamic propaganda happened, everybody faced it. Muslims faced a lot of backlash at that time. I myself, to a certain extent, you know, because of what images are shown, on the screen, and things stick to the brain. After some time, people just don't think. These images is what becomes your opinion. So if somebody has to go do meditation on Allah, right, to the Zat of Allah, and as we said in this last thing is, the bigger challenge is when your mind is thinking about images and you are trying to do meditation, saying that, I'm going to now start doing meditation for the next 10 minutes. I'm going to focus on my breath, and the moment you do that, you are actually telling your brain, which has a limitation of working with images and thought process, to connect to Allah, who has no image, no form, and is timeless. And we said a few minutes before that the concept of time and the concept of thought and image is how the brain works. and you are telling the brain that now we're going to contemplate on Allah, illallahu, la ilaha illallahu, and Allah has no image, no form, no timelessness. Believe me, brothers and sisters, you give that assignment to the brain, he's going to go for a spin. And that's what really happens. So the question here is, how does one enter into that realm? This is the bigger problem. And I'll give a simple example to prove this point. Suppose, there is an animal, and I think I've given this example before, and there's an animal called mongoose. It's in the tropical climates, towards the equator of the earth. The mongoose is an animal, you can Google it, is an animal which is always fights with the snake. They're like, sworn enemies. They don't have to have any. The mongoose sees the snake, snake sees the mongoose, they start fighting right away. It's in their fitra somehow. So if somebody who is living in the in the close to the North Pole or in America or in Canada, if I tell them I have a mongoose pet in my house in India, I come from India, immediately that person who has never seen a mongoose, his brain is going to go for a spin and come back with a question mark and say, what is a mongoose? Because his brain is going to get confused. Because what happened now, the moment you said the word mongoose, his brain went into a spin, went into his memory database and tried to look for an image for the mongoose. It didn't find it, came back with a big question mark. Now this we are talking about the creation of Allah. Think about, you're going to use the same technique to do meditation on Allah who has no form, is timeless and eternal. What do you think, brothers and sisters, is going to happen? Right? So let's keep going. Hope I made my point here. Now, again, we covered this a little bit. Let me just say it. The reptilian brain is the part of the brain which is used for survivability, okay, to survive on this earth. That brain needs images to survive. Okay, and everybody has this reptilian brain, otherwise you won't survive on this earth. Okay, so let's talk about the concept of shortcoming of images. Okay, husband and wife, this is a good example. Definitely sisters would love this thing. Husband and wife lived with each other for 5 to 10 years. The husband, he knows his wife for so many years, they have a good relation, mashallah, and his brain creates an image of his wife. Now the image itself may not be true because it's just the external image and how much he knows about her. And we will talk about this when we go into deeper meditation. You can do this technique on your wife also. It's not doing illallahu, but you could do it on your wife too. And you would definitely see a different perspective of your wife, which you've never seen before. And I have tried it myself. So the perception is, what we're trying to say is the perception is not the reality, right? And and we've seen it so many times. Husband and wife have lived their life for 20 to 30 years or 40 years of marriage. Sometimes the wife complains or the husband complains, oh, you don't know me. And it happens, unfortunately divorce happens in every society, and that's because of that. You don't know each other. Maybe there's no fault of the husband or the wife, it's just that they have not understood how to go within their own self and to understand the other human being. We are all human beings, we have limitations, we have fears, anxiety, illusion, all that. And the real duty that we should be doing is, we should, each one of us, try to go to higher level of consciousness, and first of all make ourselves strong, because you can only help somebody when you become strong. You cannot help if you're yourself weak. And then you have to get other brothers and sisters to higher level of consciousness. Believe me, brothers and sisters, once you get to a higher level of consciousness, your life on earth becomes a bliss, because you become so understanding. The level of empathy, I would say, is so much that you could understand just looking at a person from where the person is coming from. Maybe the person is having a bad day, maybe he's got some issues. It could be a coworker is very agitated today, and you might feel, why is this person being so hard on me? And you were going to meditation, a lot of things are shown to you, and you would know that something is bad, and you might know. It depends upon how close you are to Allah. It is ilm ma'rifa, the ilm which Allah bestows on a salik. And then the empathy sets in. So it's really beautiful, when you get to that level, that you see that you are no separate from any other human beings. You don't look at people as, you know, Jews and Christians and Hindus. You don't, and that is the beauty of it. And I have mingled with, you know, uh, brothers from other, following other path like the Upanishads, the Vedas, and at higher level of consciousness, not like people who are doing idol worship, but again at a high level of consciousness. And um, I'm not trying to belittle idol worship, but the point is that, because we come from the Islamic background, we say, worshipping idol is shirk. But I have a presentation which I put on the internet which talks about the concept of shirk, and you can go and watch it if you need. My point is that um, no matter what sect you come from or religion or something, the issue is same, because we are all human beings, sharing the same brain and the same limitations of the five senses of the brain. Okay, and the point we're trying to stress here is that for most of the people, they use their brain only for thought analysis. Okay, and the thought is generated from the five senses. That's all they use it for. So even if you are doing a PhD from MIT, believe me, brothers and sisters, you're not using more than your five senses. Okay, to go to, and Baba Mohideen talks about Hazrat talks about, the feeling, awareness, intellect, judgment, subtle wisdom, divine analytical wisdom, and divine luminous wisdom. Seven levels of wisdom, of ilm he talks about. And and he says that most of the human beings, they only go up to level 3, which is feeling, awareness, and intellect. They don't go even into the judgment, to the subtle wisdom, to the divine analytical wisdom and luminous wisdom. What is talked about here is at the divine analytical wisdom level. Okay, at the sixth level. And so the point here is we are looking at something which or shedding some light on another aspect, which is people don't realize is, or miss out, is observation. Observation is also a function of the brain. And the moment I say observation, I want to clarify this, because, and let me move on to the next slide. It's got more information. Observation is not just observing something. Oh, I'm observing a traffic light, which we just said before, example. Oh, it's now red, it's going to become green, and I'm going to start accelerating my car. No, it's not that. Observation is observing a situation, an object or incident, field of study, relationships, father, mother, son, daughter, co-worker, friend, any of those relationships without judgment. Okay, and brothers and sisters, we need to understand how this brain of ours works, and it works very fast. Okay, and unfortunately, even though it works for our own good, sometimes it backfires. I'll tell you how. We jump to conclusions very fast when the thought process works fast. Okay, and sometimes it is very important to step back, look at the situation without the thought process injecting the how the thought process works is it injects set of words. That's how the brain communicates. It has always communicates with a language. So there's always a set of words which are thrown out. Okay, so the point here is that if you have not done this technique, you have to try and do this one. That is, instead of using the brain only as input from the five senses and generating a lot of thoughts, let's go into observation. So suppose, say I'm witnessing an argument between two people. I'm just giving an example. So instead of taking sides, oh, I know this guy is always difficult, and he's always abusing people, and the other person is is always very humble, and so the first guy is at fault. So that is a kind of the thought process which the brain comes back and gives you a analysis before you observe anything. Observation without judgments means is you're just observing as it is. And believe me, brothers and sisters, it takes time. It really takes time to develop this particular skill in your brain, but this is very important. And Hazrat Baba Muhyiddin talks about it, and he says that, and I have tried this technique myself. Whatever I'm saying here, I have tried it, brothers and sisters. I'm not going to say anything which I have not tried. And I know of, spiritual teachers, who they say that take even a piece of leaf, take a leaf from a tree and just observe the leaf. What happens? You observe the leaf, right? The brain's going to come and say, oh, it's green in color. So what you need to do here is, and that's what is explained in the slide, is the brain will come back and say, oh, it's green in color. What you say to the brain at that point is, I don't want the five sense inputs right now. I'm just going to observe it. Just observe, as if a child, a small child who has never seen a leaf before, observes it completely blank with no prejudgment. You have to train your brain to do these things, brothers and sisters. Okay, and I will come later on. Later on you'll understand why I'm telling you this thing. You develop the skill. Every skill takes time. It will not happen overnight. And do it very slowly. Don't beat up your brain mind and say, you know what, this is not green, shut up, and just observe. It's not going to happen like that. Just observe very calmly. Just keep looking at it. And Hazrat Baba Muhyiddin said that he observed every atom in this universe, and he saw that around this atom, the energy field, the 99 wilayats of Allah, the 99 attributes of Allah is rotating, and that is the kudrat of Allah is in every atom, or the subatomic level. He saw that. Okay, and this is the level of marfa. So if you are a salik and you're true to your sheikh, and and we follow the path of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anhu. So believe me, brothers and sisters, Allah will bestow you if you keep on this path. He will bestow you that observation, and that is where you're touching the unseen realm, or the eternal realm of Allah. Okay, so if I let my brain do the silly analysis and say, oh, this leaf is like 4 centimeters by 6 centimeters, and it is the leaf of a banyan tree, and it is green in color, and it has got some brown patches. Believe me, you are just skimming the surface of it, and you are not going to go into the subatomic level and all that. But your brain, because Allah is the most just, his ya adil. Every human being, brothers and sisters, has got the skill in him, or has this power in him. It's a matter of how much internally you can go into your own self. Okay, so some people we have to start somewhere. So the point I'm trying to make it is somewhere we have to tell the senses, five senses, guys, I understand your limitations. You're helping me live a life in this world. Thank you very much. You tell your mind also, thank you very much for all the thought process. But here I am going to just do observation with, I don't need any inputs from your memory bank. Okay. And that's where the hakikat and marifat starts. Okay. And here we say, you're awaiting the wisdom from the unseen realm to flow. Okay, and as you start practicing this is all part of the meditation process, brothers and sisters. It is not like, I'm going to sit quiet and and close my eyes, watch my breath. No, 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 this is just you're telling your mind to take your from one thought to another thought. That's all you're going to do. That is not true meditation. Okay, so I hope I explained to you this particular slide. So what is the observation without judgment? Just going to deeper surrender by the thought process, which is part of the brain's working, that it cannot perceive the unseen, the infinite, timelessness, since thought is time bound. And we talked about that in the previous slides. Mind surrenders and humility sets in. The ego generated by the illusion, and the illusion, we'll talk about illusion. We have these slides. There are a lot of slides with all these small terms: illusion, maya, illusion, and all that. We'll clear it quickly, so that at the end of this slide, I want definitely you'll have to go back maybe a couple of times at least to get to a good level of understanding, so that you yourself can now, at the end of this presentation, start your own meditation journey. And brothers and sisters, I want to say this right away: every person's meditation journey is unique. Mine will be unique, you will be unique, somebody else's will be unique. No person's meditation technique is going to be the same. Okay, and that's the beauty of Allah. Every fingerprint of every human being is different. So that's how Allah is. He's the Khalik. So the point is that When the mind surrenders and says, you know what, I cannot touch the infinite, the eternal, with this limited five senses and my processing power, then the mind slowly sits down. Okay, the thought process slows down, because it knows its limitation, and you get to a beautiful state. I put this in bold. I don't know anything. Brother and sister, this is the most beautiful state to be in. When I started this spiritual journey, I met with some spiritually enlightened human being, couple of them. And I was coming from the tariqat, from Naqshbandi tariqat, and I thought maybe I knew a lot of things. And believe me, brothers and sisters, it was Maghrib time one day, and I was sitting at the Mazar of Baba Muhyiddin, and this enlightened being came in. There was nobody there at that time. I want to share this experience of I don't know anything. I spent like 6 or 7 years in Naqshbandi tariqat, and I thought maybe I know a lot of muraqabah. I had done a lot of muraqabah and all that. And this person walks in, in his late 70s, and very beautiful face, and he comes in, says, come outside the mazar. I kind of came outside. My two kids were sitting right next to me. They were small at that time, the two younger ones, and my wife was there with me. And I don't want to reveal the name of this enlightened being because he told me not to. And he basically, with all his love and compassion, he hugged me like his own son. And just his hug, I started crying. And then he said in a very beautiful way, Ba Muhyiddin, he accepted Islam through Ba Muhyiddin and Kutub Ba Muhyiddin. And and he said, so you are a born Muslim, right? This is so beautiful, right? So I said, yes, yes, because then he asked my name, and I told my name and everything. And long story short is then he said, okay, let me ask you some questions. And I thought, you know, being, as stupid I can be, that maybe I know a lot of things. And believe me, brothers and sisters, he asked me some basic questions about Islam. And I gave him the answer. He kept on saying, no, brother, you're wrong. You're wrong. This is not the right answer. And I was like shocked because I thought this everybody should, this is kindergarten stuff, right? And then he gave me the right answer, which was at the level of hakikat and marifat. And then he asked me five or six questions, and and then he kept on asking me questions. After the 5 or 6 questions he asked me, and then he gave me the answers for them, then he kept on asking me like another 5 or 10 questions. And believe me, after the fifth question or sixth question, I don't remember correctly, for all the rest of the questions my answer was, I don't know anything. And I started crying. And my kids were there. My daughter was there, the younger daughter and the younger son. And my younger daughter, she said, she was, I think, uh, 7 years old at that time. And this is approximately 6 or 7 years before, yeah, 7, 8 years before. And she said, Papa, why are you crying so much? And I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, I want you to go through this presentation to understand this thing so that you benefit out of it. With my own whole sincerity, I'm trying to put across what I experienced so you understand how to do muraqabah. I did not cry so much when my father died. That day I cried much more than that. So once it was done, I'm normally this 5 time praying guy. Even now, I pray my prayers on time and all that. But that day, because he called me just after Maghrib, it was really till Isha time. And then I went again, do my wudu and prayed my Maghrib. But my point is that I lost track of time. That was how much, I got drained. And the beautiful part of it, this enlightened being, he told me that now you're ready for the journey of Kutubiyat, the ilm of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anhu, because you have reached a point of I don't know anything. So believe me, brothers and sisters, the reason I uh, shared this thing is just don't take this as a word that I don't know anything. It's like a grammatical sentence now. It has much deeper meaning, and I have a small zikr, which is right below that, and I didn't want to put this thing here, but at the same time, I thought it would make much easier sense if I put it. So the point is that we all do zikr, Ya Salam, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Malikul Quddus, all the 99 beautiful names of Allah, attributes of Allah. Now think about it, brothers. The moment I say Ya Rahman or Rahim, your brain is already went inside and said, oh, the most compassionate, most merciful. Ya Salam, oh, the source of all peace. That is what this mind, does it. It goes and gives you a word. Now, if you just do your meditation based on this limited meaning that the mind came from a Arabic dictionary or an English dictionary, it is limited to that limited explanation which is in the word. You have not experienced Ya Rahman. You have not experienced Ya Rahim. You have not experienced Ya Salam. That experience is beyond words. So that's what I'm trying to say. Thought, words, images. These are all governed by the monkey mind, which is limited. Allah has created this mind only for surviving in this world. But this particular mind itself becomes a bottleneck when you go for higher level of consciousness. Okay, so there is another technique, and I want you to do this thing. Another technique, you do the start doing the, for example, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman zikr, Ya Rahman, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Allah. You do this zikr, and I want you to do this and experience it. But the moment you say Ya Rahman, Ya Allah, your brain will come and say Ya Rahman means the most compassionate, or whatever the meaning it is. You immediately tell your brain, I don't need the meaning. Let me just do Ya Rahman, Ya Allah without, I don't know anything. I don't know the meaning. I'm waiting for my Rabb to let me experience Ya Rahman without this monkey mind's interpretation of the meaning. And you just say, I'm just going to do it. I don't know how many times till I get tired, or till I can do it. Ya Rahman, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Allah. And you tell your mind in a nice way that you know what, you cannot contemplate the 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 qudrat of Allah. So Allah has to bestow it on you, bestow it on your soul, and the soul experiences it, and there is no explanation for that. No, you cannot put a word to that, no meaning to that, Ya Rahman or Ya Rahim. It is the limited vocabulary that can put some. Experiencing the attribute of Allah is different from just knowing the meaning of the word. Okay, and that's what I'm trying to say. That is where true meditation begins, where you start experiencing things. And it's very important that you have to let your brain stop giving you this dictionary, trying to act like an encyclopedia, because if you listen to that, you're not going anywhere. Okay, I hope I make myself very clear. Let's get into another topic, very important. What is desire? And it's very important because human beings on this earth, right? If I want to study well, or gotta buy a good car or good house or beautiful wife, whatever it is, good dress and all that, it's all desire made. There is nothing wrong in desire, because desire is what fuels civilization, right? If everybody says I'm going to sit in the Himalayas and just do meditation, civilization will not survive. Okay, but what is the problem with desire? We'll talk about that. Okay, so and again, desire, if it is controlled by the laws of Sharia, it's beautiful. Okay, I want to have good food, Alhamdulillah, go ahead and have good food, nobody's stopping you. you know I want to have a good lemon juice, Alhamdulillah, go and have a good lemon juice, nobody's stopping you. So but we are going to go into desire in a sense that from a point of where the desire is from the um, mostly forbidden territory. Okay, not in the bad way, but just to understand what desire is. Okay, and the reason why we are saying that is these are the bottlenecks which comes in when people try to do meditation, because there is a lot of karma, or there is a lot of negativity which could be buried in a person. I'm not saying I look upon myself, maybe I'm the worst sinner who's listening or recording this presentation, but I'm not trying to belittle anyone. But the point is that I hope every brother who or sister who sincerely listens to this benefits out of it. So I'm putting this thing that we're going to go how a desire gets you up to a sin, and then how do you escape out of it. Okay, so let's go through the process. Again, we know how the mind works. Initially a thought is created, right? And then the thought creates an image. Now the thought itself could be created from a past uh, memory or some present input, right? Suppose I have a old 20-year-old car, and one of my friends just buys a BMW, and he comes and shows you the car, BMW. Right there you says, oh my goodness, man, he's got a BMW and this is beautiful car. And that's generated a thought, the thought of the BMW car, and you already compare in the background, your mind is already compared with your old 20-year-old car, okay? Now the image that creates a sensation. So you looking at the friend's BMW has created a sensation in the heart. It could be again for a beautiful flower, smelling fragrance, beautiful woman, house, car. I'm giving an example. The next thing what your brain does is, and I want you to understand the process, okay? What the brain does is that it will take the BMW and put you into that frame. So look at the next statement. Now the second thought, the first thought is your friend brought the car, you looked at the white BMW, you really loved it, leather seats, great. The next thing the brain does is now it creates, the second thought is it creates an image with you inside the car. That the object of attraction is in the next frame. Okay, and that's the next image that the brain has created. Beautiful car, and I'm part of that material possession. Now, the next thing that happens is the energy swells in your heart and the desire is born. And what the desire says, I wish I could have that car. There is no problem if you can afford it. If you're going to take a bank loan and then you're going to pay interest, now you're going against Sharia, right? So that is where the problem comes in, brothers and sisters. Okay. So the point is, again, the you have given rise to birth to a puppy, and we talked about this in another presentation, I think in my on the channel, the YouTube channel that we have. I think concept of shirk. I talked about the puppies. That the puppies are the desires that you give birth to, and they torture you. So suppose you are not making as much money as you can afford that BMW. Maybe you can only afford a Toyota or or a Hyundai. That itself has given you a little heartbreak. A jealousy thought is already generated now. Oh, he can afford it and I cannot, kind of thing, right? So this is how the mind works, and these are all different thoughts and sensations which are stored in the heart. Now, why I'm going to the depth of this thing is because when you go into muraqabah, and when you're trying to get to Allah, to the timelessness and the eternal and the peace, all these things have to be cleansed, brothers and sisters. If your heart is not cleansed from the attachments of the world, oh, this brother of mine has got a beautiful house, $1 million house, oh, I can only afford a $200,000 house. Brothers and sisters, if you have this comparison in you, believe me, you can do muraqabah for the next 10,000 years. You will not get to illallahu. You will not experience, you know, the kudrat of Allah. There are a lot of Muslims who come and say, oh, you know what, I love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this and that. I ask them one question: how many times have you seen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in your dream or in a vision? Simple question. How they say, oh, we recite salawat. Okay, if you recite salawat, then have you seen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So there has to be a direct correlation between what you're doing and what you're supposed to see, right? If that disconnect is there, which means that what you're doing is not falling in the right place. If I plant a tree, a seed in the desert, and where it doesn't rain for the next, maybe it receives 4 centimeters of rain in a year, believe me, that seed is not going to grow out of the ground, out or and come out. So that's what I'm trying to say. So again, the next point here is the desire is now firmly installed in your thought, and the mind sets into a mission of trying to fulfill the dream. If you are a brother who is, or a sister who understands the reality of life, say, you know what, mashallah, let my, ya Allah, alhamdulillah, this brother of mine has got a beautiful BMW car, may Allah give him more. And you can always make a wish, Allah give me also, right? That is okay. But you don't make a wish that, well, why did Allah give him and I did not give me? You cannot, that's not allowed in Islam, right? Because that comes from jealousy. So but the point is that if you don't control that, then sin is born. Then you become the slave of the desire, and later on habits and tendencies, right? What is habit? If you keep doing something repeatedly, right, for 40 days, it becomes a habit. And once it becomes a habit, for example, you have a friend of yours who's smoking, he's not a good influence. First he gives you one cigarette, you're not a smoker, he gives you one cigarette, you start smoking. He offers you 2 or 3 cigarettes, as free. It's okay, man, take it. And after 40 days, he doesn't have to give you anymore. He will have a pack with you, and you will go to him and you offer him cigarettes. Now both of you smoke for 1 year, 2 year, 10 years. What happens now? It has become a tendency. It's not even a habit. Habit is what, where you have the urge and then you do something. Okay. But there is still an effort needed where you have to convince yourself, oh, I have to go and buy it and do that. Once the habit is followed for a long time, it becomes a tendency. Once it becomes a tendency, brothers and sisters, there's no thought process. It just happens. For example, I'll give you a difference between habit, right? I wearing, a suit to office is not an habit. It happens maybe once in a year or two because I don't wear suit, right? I don't have to do in my, but tendency is what? I get up in the morning and I have to brush my teeth. Automatically my hand will go into, onto the brush. I'll, squeeze the paste and I'll start brushing. I don't even have to, it just happens, and that's what tendency is. Okay. And that becomes dangerous when the people have the wrong habits. Okay. It is again, so how do you control a desire? Okay. Very important, right? And this is very important. If brothers and sisters, anybody is stuck into wrong bad habits, it could be pornography today. Every evil out there is made easy. This is the time of Masiha Dajjal. Dajjal is going to come, so we have to be very careful. So so if I have to get to Allah, to illallahu, I have to cleanse my entire self. I cannot have, it's not garbage in, if you put garbage in, garbage goes out, right? So if I have to connect to illalahu, to Ya Salam, to Ya Quddus, who's the most pure, I cannot have all this garbage in my existence. So solution, how to control the sensation. So let's look at the thought process. First, we said the first thought process, your friend comes with a car. Okay. The second thing is a sensation in your heart. Oh, beautiful car. The third thing, immediately what happened? These things happen in microseconds. Okay. The brain is so fast. You already looked at this second image where the BMW car is there and you are sitting in the car. That's the image is created. Now, the point here is that what you have to do is, if you have to control your desire, right? And this is where you have to master. I'm telling you, this particular presentation has got techniques here. So you have to master these things. I can only say it one time. You have to go in and look at your own analysis deeply and do this. These are techniques which are being given. So you saw the BMW car, and before the thought process creates the second image, with you woven into that frame, you sitting in the BMW car, right? Look at the initial thought with complete attention. What is the initial thought? Oh, beautiful car. The moment you say that, you'll say, oh, beautiful car, right? And then you affirm the emotion, whatever it is. It's a beautiful car. Don't negate it, right? And acknowledge it, but with complete attention. And this is, again, you have to experience this thing. I can only say it. It will only become a reality when you experience it. Acknowledge it completely. Yes, beautiful car. Yes, BMW. Yes, leather seats, everything. Believe me, brothers and sisters, when you do it with complete attention, your consciousness, which is at a higher level, will seep in immediately, because you're not letting that thought go into the next one where it goes to the sensation and the monkey mind jumps in with you in the next frame where you're saying, oh, I wish I can sit in that car. I wish this is my car. You don't go there. The moment you say, yes, it's BMW, yes, it's white in color, yes, it has got leather seats, so what? The higher level of wisdom pours in at that time, come from the consciousness, that comes from the divine analytical wisdom. It pours in and it says, so what? It is just a material thing. After 10 years, even that will become useless, or 20 years, my friend will dump it, right? So what? That comes in. And then immediately you have stopped the thought process to go into the second point where you are in the frame. That is the only place you can stop the desire to not be born. Okay. And these are all, deep Sufi techniques. So, it's come after years and years of, the shayuk practicing these things. So I'm just letting it out. So this is where you have to stop the desire being born, and you can use this technique for anything. Watching. I'm just saying this out. I'm not trying to make it this presentation very bad or something. Somebody is stuck to pornography. Same thing. Use the same technique. Okay. So observe the emotion without any judgment, but with complete attention. And the emotion starts melting away. The desire starts melting away. It becomes less relevant. It becomes, so what? So what's the big deal? Kind of thing happens, right? And because you can stop it right there, and you believe me, Allah has given you the power to control yourself. You just need to know where you need to push the right buttons. And this is what we're saying. The point again, I'm saying, highlighting, practice this regularly, brothers and sisters, and it really help you. Okay, so again, to go through the next slide. So channelize the sensation with wisdom, conservation of vital energy. One starts slowly moving into higher level of consciousness because you stopped at the first thought and you went deep into that. BMW car, white car, leather seat. Okay, what next? What next? What next? Okay, it's just a bloody car. After 20 years, it will be worth nothing. My friend will dump it. Okay, why my brain is so caught up in this thing? Right there, higher level of consciousness comes in. And maybe if you are connected to the zikr, you'll say, oh, it's better to do to buy food for a poor brother or a brother sister across the continent who is dying for one meal, maybe a brother in Syria, and say, maybe I can drive a second-hand car and donate that money somewhere else. Maybe on the day of judgment, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will come and hug me for that particular deed. That's higher level of consciousness coming from love, and that seeps in. So now you slowly start living a selfless life, not a self-centered life of showing off to the society and all that. And that compassion and mercy is what takes you into illalahu. I remember an incident of there was when I want to share this thing, and I don't know whether I shared it before, but the beautiful story of Mother Teresa. And I know most of you know about Mother Teresa. She spent her years of service to the poor people of Calcutta, the street beggars and everybody. She was a nun, and she was from the Roman Catholic church, and she wanted to do missionary work. She wanted to serve service to the most downtrodden people, and she was from Yugoslavia. And the Catholic Church at that time, they said, no, you can't do this. You have to be in the monastery praying all the time. She said, no, I connect to the masses and I can't see the suffering. She said, Jesus will ask me on the day of judgment, what have you done for me? I cannot just sit and pray in this room. I have work to do in the streets. And she basically quit. And she said, you know what? I'm not going to listen to this, hierarchy of priests. And she went into the streets and started doing work. And one of the managers in one of the earlier companies I used to work for, years before, I'm talking about 25 years before. He was a very good entrepreneur, and he came up the hard way. He was an orphan. He studied, very well, and became a manager. I always looked upon him. He was a person of a lot of character. Years later, he quit the company. I moved on, came to US, United States, and we lost touch. But I always used to Google his name, and uh, and he opened up his own company back home in India, and it did a lot of good, made a lot of money, and did a lot of good to the society. But before he did the good, he was, let's say, just an entrepreneur making money. And he says that in his one of his websites, he put this beautiful story where he said that he was this entrepreneur trying to make millions, and which is, there's no harm in making money as long as you channelize it correctly. But the point is that he said he was making a lot of money and this and that, running around crazy, and he was a very hardworking person. He came up the hard way, so there was no shortcuts for him in his life. So the point is that he said one day he went for a charity event, and he met Mother Teresa there. I don't want to disclose his name, but he met Mother Teresa there, and he went to Mother Teresa. He had a small check with him, and he wanted to donate some money. And he said, and when he saw Mother Teresa, because he himself was an orphan, the love he felt to the proximity of Mother Teresa next to him. She held both his hands, and he said he started talking like a small kid in front of Mother Teresa. She said, "Oh, Mother Teresa, I have this, I have this company. I make so much of products, and I make so much money. I have this office. I have this wife. I have a beautiful house, cars." He kept on saying, and said for the 10 or 15 minutes, Mother Teresa just looked at him as a mother would look at her child, with no urgency, or just listening to every word he said, and he's talking about the world, the successes that he had got in this world. And he said that after all that, when he has done finished his, glorifying his own self, he said, the mother looked at it and said, "Son, this is what you do for a living. What do you do for the betterment of the mankind and for your Lord?" And he said that particular moment when Mother Teresa said that, it changed his life completely. And then he became a philanthropist after that. So this is some one time straight incident which I could relate to in my life. But my point is that, you know, what type of life are we living here? Are we trying to live a life to satisfy our ego, or status in society, or showing off to people that how successful I am in accumulating the world, where the first time you came into this world, somebody gave you a bath and you were naked. That when you're going the last time from this world also, brothers and sisters, believe me, you're going to be naked. Somebody else is going to give you a bath, and somebody is going to give you your two cloths, white clothes of kafan. That's what's going to happen. So that's the reality. Okay, so again, this is talking about higher sense, and let's keep going here. We're going back to how to break a habit or tendency. It could be drugs, it could be smoking, or anything, right? You have to look at, and people know that once it becomes a habit or tendency, as we described, it becomes very difficult for to break out from it. Okay, but we're going to give you a technique, and why we are talking about these things is because I don't want this meditation technique which we are talking about to be for only for the elite class, for those Muslim brothers or sisters who are the best. No, it doesn't happen like that. Even a brother who is a little bit, astray, let him come back, inshallah. And let's all pray for that, inshallah. So I'm trying to make this as wide as possible to cover every possible scenario, because this is all important and everybody learns from it. It's not that I have to be taking drugs. I may have habits, like maybe I'm taking 10 cups of tea per day, right? Or 4 or 5 cups of coffee per day. That could be a bad habit too, right? Or I have a craving for sugar or chocolate. That's all, something which I have to change, right? It doesn't have to be taking drugs or anything. Again, let's go through this quickly. So how do I break a habit or tendency? You have to allow the flowering of the desire within meditation. So for example, if you feel that you have to eat chocolate, right? The urge comes in. You have to bring that thought of you are eating chocolate in front of you. And what will happen, and you have to observe what happens within your own self. You will feel your mouth is watering. You will feel the sensation of the chocolate, chewing your chocolate, and the taste and everything. And believe me, brothers and sisters, this is whatever I highlighted here. The flowering of the bud is nearing the end of the life of the flower. The moment the bud becomes a flower and blossoms, and believe me, after a few hours, the flower will be gone. That's what happens to the desire also. When the desire is in the bud state, I'm not saying go and start taking chocolate or go and start having drugs right there, but bring the thought of eating the chocolate or smoking or whatever it is into your mind at that time, and don't let go that thought. Just hang on to that thought. Inside your mind, the bud will become a flower. The desire will open up, and then after some time you'll find that, okay, it's done. And you will realize that you fulfill the desire without even doing the act. That is the first thing happens. Okay, so you watch the pattern of energy, how it reacts within your own body response. Watch every time how the energy reacts, and slowly you'll feel it is not any more important that you have to smoke something or eat something. It is just a desire. You gave attention, something happened in your body, some saliva secretion happened or something happens, and after that, what, brothers, it just went off. And slowly what happens now, the body is slowly learning to survive without, and you are slowly, without doing that act, and you are learning to have better control over yourself. So instead of doing that, if you say suppress your desire, I'm not going to smoke today. Instead of bringing the thought, again, I'm not saying go and smoke, I'm saying bringing the thought in within you. That is also part of meditation. That's what I'm trying to say, brothers and sisters. It's not like let me get up in the morning, sit straight, spine straight, concentrate on my breathing. This particular technique of meditation we're talking about can be used on an everyday, day-to-day basis. That is what meditation is actually. And once you finish the slide, you'll understand what is true meditation. And there is no thing like going into meditation and coming out of meditation. Okay, and we will get there. So instead of, again, going back to the topic of controlling habit, instead of uh, suppressing the desire, the desire will come back with double or triple force if you try to suppress it. Instead of that, invite the desire into your, during meditation, you invite your desire. Think as if you're smoking or doing whatever it is, or and then having a good time, and just concentrate on that feeling. Don't let it go. After a few minutes, you'll say, okay, it's done. And you, once it's done, your mind thinks, okay, it's done, and you'll not feel this the urge to smoke or eat at that time. Okay, and this desire, as I said, this technique can be used to break any habit or tendency. Again, these are all techniques which are being given, brothers and sisters. You need to practice it. Okay, you're intelligent people, so you need to research on this thing and you have to keep going. All right, let me go to the next. So the key is, again, to watch the desire with full attention, not to yield or resist. Just observe the desire with complete attention with one's own self. Let it flower. Okay, you be fully aware of what's happening. Then there is no control. When you try to control something, that is when the disorder happens. When trying to control, then the your mind is fighting the urge. Then the disharmony happens. Okay, so you should not have disharmony within your own self. You should be able to smoothly channelize your energy, and that is how all these things, techniques, are needed for to really do a true meditation. Right, it's not just, oh, I'm going to sit and say la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. Nothing's going to happen. And I'm talk about that also, that kind of zikr meditation also, the limitation of that will also be talked about. So again, similar technique can be used to get rid of anger, jealousy, greed, lust, or any negative emotion. Okay, so there's something which you can try. Right? And this is how to unwind oneself and take life as it comes. Okay, we are talking a lot of scenarios here, so that these are all scenarios which human beings come across in the daily life. Is it possible to live without controlling oneself or other lives, or without expectation? We always have expectation from other people, and we are trying, some people are control freaks and all that. And most of the problem, is the people who are control freaks, they control themselves a lot. you know they are very rigid. It doesn't mean that, it's not the question of being disciplined. You need to have discipline in your life, but being rigid or being hard-headed, we're talking about that particular feature, hard-headed. So the question you have to ask for such people, every person have that, even I have that tendency sometimes, that I work on it and then it slowly goes away. And these are techniques which are there because these are the things which becomes bottlenecks for you when you go into real meditation. And that's why we've been discussing this thing. I'm running an organization and I don't like certain kind of people, or they come and create mischief, so I'm trying being a control freak there. you know so controller is the creator of the thought. Here you got to, this is the solution. Controller, who's the controller? I am the controller. He's the creator of the thought, and the thought is controlling another thought. So again, you say that the controller and the controlled are the both the same, and you are trying to control one fragment of thought with another fragment of thought. There is no end to it. The person who is breaking the law, he doesn't care. You are sitting and punishing your own self, and there will be always conflict. So what we need to do, we have to live in the moment, and we will get to that, living further in the moment. We have to let go, practice detachment in human relations too. Right? Everybody has got their own independence. Let them do what they have to do. They have to answer their Lord, or Allah. I don't have to become the Maliki Yawmiddin, right? Maliki Yawmiddin is Allah, is the creator. So basically, I'm not saying to let everybody say do what you need, but there are times where you have to detach yourself and just let people do what they have to do, and there is a reason for that, and we go for that. Okay. So again, question here is, where does conflict arise from? Conflict, you're talking about the conflict within your own self. Conflict outside, maybe it's between countries and all that. That country, that is outside you. What is inside you, the conflict inside you, is more damaging to you than what is outside. So we have demand in life for daily living, a sense of continuity, you know we do you know we a sense of security, right? It must so when we say that, oh, I have this particular job, and I need this much pay, and I need this much bonus, or I need, so the moment I had these expectation, or this is my wife and I expect her to serve me coffee at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I want these things for breakfast, right? So there is a sense of continuity, a sense of security. My tea should have 2 spoons of sugar, right? So there's a sense of security and continuity, right? My wife should wish me salam before I wish her salam, or whatever it is. These could be small things. I'm just giving an example. These will inevitably bring conflict. That's what I'm saying. So this is a nature in human beings, where they become very picky. Oh, I need this particular dish to be made with in a particular taste. Something happens, you throw tantrum. Oh, why is this dish not made like this? Or why is it not correct? you know that's where the conflict arises. And all these things, right, all these small things, it will affect you in your meditation technique. When you go for illalahu meditation, believe me, brothers and sisters, these are all going to come back to you, and not let you experience the eternal timelessness of ilallahu. You have to let go. You know what, my wife gave me 2 rotis, and we follow Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat's path. We don't eat meat, right? We are vegetarians, and there is explanation of Zabiha. You can go into the channel and listen to that. Why Baba Muhyiddin said, Hazrat said that stop eating meat during the end of times. He did not say it's halal, haram kind of thing. He said, and the explanation is given in Zabiha presentation. You can go and watch it on the channel also. So the point is that just take it easy kind of thing here. Okay, so again, the point we are making here is that the demand for consistency and security, right? A way, being picky, that generates conflict, and try not to do that. That's what we're saying here in this slide. Okay. Now, what is Maya and illusion? We're covering all these things. Maya and illusion is what? Illusion. Maya is a Sanskrit word, for illusion. What is illusion? Is something which is not reality. It's a perception. Perception management versus reality management. Perception is, oh, you know, all Muslims who have beard, they they could be terrorist. Perception, right? I faced it myself. I have a long beard, so I faced it. People looking at you in doubt during September 11th and all that. I know, and unfortunately, so what the life, the way, not now it's much better. But my point is that perception. Okay, so it's not reality. So what, again, you go back. Moment of thought, past, present, and future is the concept of time. Now, here the big question you have to ask: am I awake or asleep? Now, I think in one of the presentations I put in who am I, what am I talked about 3 states, right? The wake state, the dream state, and deep sleep state. Wake state is when you're awake 9 to 10 hours a day. You go to office, you go to school, you go to college, you earn your degree, all those things. That's a wake state. The sleep state, when you go into sleep state, there is a dream state where you are dreaming about things which could be happening on a day-to-day basis, or you could be getting some revelation from higher consciousness, right? Or you're in deep sleep state where you're totally completely relaxed, and there is no dream at that time, and you're in completely deep sleep state. So there are 3 states in a human being: wake state, sleep state, a deep sleep state, and dream state. And you can go back to that presentation. I'm not going to discuss that in detail here. Here we are talking about, are you awake or asleep? What does that mean? What it means is that I'm in the awake state. That means I am in my office. But if I am stuck in my past, That is before the wisdom has dawned on me. I'm always living in the past. Oh, that guy did this to me, this guy did that to me, or these guys, it's always complaining, 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 because that's what the mind does, right? It goes and gets information from your memory bank, remember, all the time. That's how it works on the image, right? So your present is dictated by the past, and you're still awake. That means you're in sleep mode. The mind is burdened with the past, because of which you're not letting go of the past, and the past is dominating me. Oh, that guy did that, that particular thing on that day, so he's going to carry the same attitude today, so I'm going to avoid him, kind of thing, right? Your mind is being controlled, your present is being controlled by the past. Now, which is a set of, the past is what? Is a set of thoughts and patterns and images, and hence need not be the reality. Okay, somebody who has got a beard as big as Osama bin Laden doesn't mean that every Muslim brother who looks like with a wrong beard has got the ideology of Osama bin Laden, right? So perception of reality, hence is a state of illusion. Okay, so if I have to come out of the illusion, I need to live in the present moment with full consciousness, brothers and sisters. That's what you're saying. Okay, again, these things are needed if you have to experience true meditation. Okay, not just going into the breath and saying breathe in, breathe out is not going to do anything to you. Okay, again, so these are scenarios we're talking about. Let's go to the next one. Define meditation, how to approach meditation. Now we are going to go into how to approach meditation. So let's ask, what is meditation? An activity the goal of which, and this we are talking about merging with Allah. Our channel is about illallahu, la ilaha illallah. So that is our focus here. Okay, no object meditation. Our object meditation is Allah, illallahu, nothing but Allah. Okay, so here an activity the goal of which lies outside the activity. Whereas if we ask what is meditation, the answer lies intrinsic within the inquiry itself. What is the meditation for? Illallahu, the goal of which lies outside the activity. Okay, because the mind will not be able to perceive this thing. I want to go into illallahu. Where is illallahu? Oh, Allah is sitting on the arsh. Is that so? Where is the arsh? Is above the seven heavens. Okay, where is the seven heavens? If I'm sitting in Australia and raising my hand and praying, it's at the South Pole. So for the Muslim in Australia, the heaven is below the South Pole. I'm sitting in Canada and praying with my hand up there. My heaven is on the North Pole, above the North Pole. So Earth is round, right? So where is the heaven? Up or down? Left or right? West or east? Where is it? Right? So that we are living in a three-dimensional world, brothers and sisters. The fourth dimension is time. Allah is in a multi-dimensional above, and these are things I don't want to throw out these concepts right now. So the point is that living in the three-dimensional world, you will never be able to say, okay, heaven is there, Sidratul Muntaha is there, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went for Miraj. These are concepts which you go into meditation, Sufi meditation, you can experience it, but you cannot write about that. Right now, if you write about that, then you'll hear dialogues of bidda and shirk. All those kind of things will come out, unfortunately. Right? So let me not go there. So the point I'm trying to make here is I don't know what is meditation. As I said before, I don't know, I don't know anything. So you start at this point, this beautiful point to start. I don't know what is meditation. I have realized, some examples have been given in the last few slides of what to avoid in situations in life. And we're going to talk about some more in the detail in the later on. I don't know what is meditation. It brings a great sense of humility. I don't know. It provides a sense of freedom for exploring. Rather than saying meditation is close my eyes, right, and focus on my breath. I'm not saying that is not good or bad. I'm saying I don't know what is meditation, so I'm free to explore any option. End result is that you will start your meditation in your own unique way. Okay, just have patience, brothers and sisters, till we get to the end of this thing, inshallah. Let me go. Define meditation, how to approach meditation. Problem is that people, again, a lot of brothers have complained. They said my meditation is episodal. It happens sometimes, doesn't happen sometimes. So true meditation cannot come and go. It has to be constant. That my inquiry should be constant. So as one cleanses the burden within each energy, we talked about all the energies prepare before, right? And we're going to go into the depth of our body, which has got this energy centers and all that, and touch upon this briefly so you understand, right? What cleansing I have to do. So the burden within each energy centers or chakras. It is chakras is the word given in Sanskrit. Doesn't matter, it's the same human body, whatever you call it. The burden of the soul decreases of going into one own self, and then when you start cleansing these energy centers within your own body, and we will touch upon that in the few slides, meditation becomes a second nature. Because, oh, I have a craving for chocolate, I have to control that, so there is a technique available. Or I have a craving for some other jealousy or something, because my friend has got a beautiful BMW car, I have to control, so that's another meditation technique. So what happens now is this particular meditation technique we are talking about, it has become intrinsic to my own life. Every human being faces these challenges. It's not everybody's Jibril alayhi salam, right? It's not. We're going to have ups and downs in our life, in emotions and all that. Okay. So the point I'm trying to make is, when you go through meditation in this way, where it becomes intrinsic part of your life, meditation becomes a second nature. Every time you have a problem, even in the office, somebody starts yelling at you, you go into meditation. So you're using meditation not just when you're sitting in the home and and you're relaxing and you close your eyes with your legs crossed, and no, no, no. Meditation is, and we will get there. I don't want to say that statement right now. Say it becomes second nature. Once life transforms into a meditative way of life, this is very important, extremely important on this presentation. I am not going in and out of meditation. My life transforms into a meditative way of life, and one finally connects to all pervasive loving creator, because I am cross checking and looking at every aspect of my life and trying to make it better. And as you start cleansing your own self in that way, Allah, the creator who loves me 70 times more than my own mother loves me, believe me, brothers and sisters, Allah says, you walk towards me, I run towards you. You take one step towards me, I take 10 steps towards you. Allah will get you into illallahu. Okay. And then what happens? The all pervasive creator, that mercy descends on you, and then now you go to a state where you start loving every creation of Allah, regardless of what religion and whatever they are in, and then you start making dua for everybody. Okay. So now the other question I'm asking, is meditation separated from daily life? This is very important, right? I think we already answered it, but let's say, just say it. No, meditation is not separate from daily life, right? It is intrinsic part of my daily life. Otherwise, meditation has no meaning. I sit closely with my eyes shut and I do la ilaha illallah zakar 10 times. And we will talk about this in the next bullet item. It is very important. It's a true incident which happened, but I want people will learn from this thing, right? So it's otherwise meditation has no meaning if it's not intrinsic part. If I cannot stop my smoking habit through meditation, what's the use of with this damn meditation, right? So meditation is more intrinsic, it is to solve my life. If I have an anger problem with my poor wife, I should be able to solve it with my meditation technique, right? So my point is that, so if I'm going to sit in the Himalayas, and we go this in the second slide here, if I'm going to sit in a cave and meditate, right? And and say I'm going to reach nirvana, which is in Buddhism, or moksha in Upanishad, Vedas, Hinduism, or illahu in Islam, right? Then that is abandoning the responsibilities and going away. There was a sage, and this is a true story. There was a sage who went to the cave, into a cave in the Himalayas. The snow mountains in the northeast of India, and he spent 12 years in a prison. Sorry, in a cave there. And and this is a true incident. And literally, he came back after 12 years, because normally it takes 12 years for a person to get enlightened. So in that 12 years, he never met with any people. There was some, what do you call, people who respected or loved sages. They used to bring some food for him. He used to have a good life, eat food, sit and meditate. And he felt after 12 years that he's enlightened. So he thinks, okay, let me go down to the masses now. And he gets down from the mountain, from the cave. He goes down, and takes a bus. Now You can imagine the guy has not seen civilization for 12 years. He doesn't have a shoe or a slipper on his. He's walking with a barefooted, right? What happens in the bus? Somebody comes, and because the bus is crowded, comes and literally takes his shoe and stamps on his leg. Now this was done by mistake, and this sage like literally feels the pain, and he goes off with full steam anger, and he blasts this young fellow, saying that you are stupid, you have no sense, you just completely crushed my toes or whatever it is. Suddenly the sage realized that after 12 years of meditation, a small situation happened that somebody, some young kid or teenager or whatever it is, he came and just unknowingly put his shoes on his toes, and he just got a little bit pain, and he's fuming. So he realized what is the 12 years of meditation helped him, right? So that should not be the case. Meditation should transform oneself. They're extremely important. So meditation is not something which is isolated to sitting and doing zikr. No, you get what I'm saying? So again, the point is that the pure observation with no prejudgment, you just observe with attention. So you're not following the images created by the thought process of the brain. And again, I highlight this thing. I should be able to inquire about anything in my daily life or any issues in my daily life during meditation. No bounds. Okay, and that is true meditation. Because unless I cleanse myself of all the issues I have, I will not be able to sit for half an hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours and in bliss and connect to Allah and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It will not happen. Okay, let's keep going. I want to, this was another, these are challenges I'm bringing up. Repetition of word zikr, La ilaha illallahu, Allahu, mantra. You could be here, Om Mani Padame Om, the Buddhist meditation, the Om meditation of the Upanishad and the Vedas, mantra meditation. Repeating this initially with the tongue. I want you to please understand this very carefully. Repeating this initially with the tongue, then silently it goes into the heart. It is called khafi zikr in the Sufi language. Then it enters into your entire being, and you could literally feel your heart is saying illallah, illallah. You could feel that. But here is the point. Okay, this is much deeper. Okay, I'm just putting, because I want to have a complete presentation, I'm putting this here. Even getting to that level 4 where you could hear your heart doing the zikr of illallah, illallah is a really high level of spiritual accomplishment. But again, the point is it is still self-imposed, because you started the zikr to arrive at a certain point. It's very, very important. And that self-imposed zikr is still finite expression. That's what I'm trying to say. So the question we are asking here is a very deep question, and I don't want to spend too much time here because it will take 1 hour to explain this real thing. But my point is that is a static task of illallahu, is that the final journey or the static goal that I reach, or getting to Allah is beyond that? Okay, so first you do the zikr with the tongue, then you do the zikr with the breath, then you do the zikr in the heart, and then when you witness the heart is doing illallah. This is a really good level because your heart is now doing illallah, your whole being is doing illallah, but it is still a static goal because you initiated it. You did not let it go. Allah is love, love is Allah. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, I hope you understand what the limitation of that is also. Okay, so repetition. So what we are saying here is there is no end goal in this thing. Allah is the path, not path to get to Allah. There is no path to get. Allah is the path. It is the path of love. This is a journey of illallahu is ilmul bahr. There is no end to this thing. Okay, so again the point here is being said, so instead of living a life where I do meditation once in a while for 10 minutes to 30 minutes in the morning or evening, it becomes a routine. It's easier and more natural to live a meditative life. The question I'm asking myself when I say I want to live a meditative life is, am I free of fear, desire, ambition, Ambition, you need ambition, but over ambition, you could say. Anxiety. Meditation includes the whole field of existence. Inquiry into my own self. Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. Okay, meditation must touch everyday life of people. That is where transformation begins within the man. We are energy beings. Let us look at the other slides. Okay, I'm going a little fast so that we can cover this thing. I don't want to make it too long. Okay, seven chakras or seven energy centers in the body. The first one, earth chakra. This is at the bottom of the spinal cord. We are made of earth, fire, water, air, ether, five elemental energies. Our body is made of that. So there are energy centers are vortex points where the energy is concentrated. The earth chakra is associated with fear. The earth is associated with survivability. Okay, so the that particular energy level, you have the anus and the penis, which is close to the spinal cord. The penis is connected to the reproductive organs, and also urine passes through that. Anus is where the stools passes. It is connected to whatever you eat, stools go through, urine goes through, the reproduction happens there. All right, point. That particular chakra is what you have to overcome. You have two negative aspects. Fear and arrogance is there. Solution: surrender the fear to the higher self, to Allah. It could be the fear of failure, whatever small phobias you have, let it go. Again, there will be violence, aggression, anger, hatred. These are violence doesn't mean you go and kill people or hit people. No, violence within your own self. Peace, you're not having peace within your own self is violence. Aggression within your own self. Anger within your own self. Hatred within your own self. As long as there is fear, both inwardly and outwardly, these particular bad tendencies or habits or nature will, that is aggression, anger, hatred, will manifest itself. Okay, now then on top of it, the next is water chakra. Water chakra is just half inch below the navel, associated with bodily pleasures. Okay, that is what, that could be pleasures which are uncontrolled, or which are haram, which is illegitimate. Okay, when somebody goes in Auzubillah, have zina or something, it is blocked with shame and guilt. Somebody is watching bad movies and all that, shame and guilt. Solution: forgive oneself, acknowledge the emotion. We talked about the meditation technique where you bring that desire in front of you. We talked about that. You can go back and revisit it. I'm not going to go into the depth of that thing. So that will control the water chakra. Fire chakra associated with aspiration, ambition, with willpower. Blocked by, how does that negatively affect you? You have hastiness, you have greed, you make mistakes. Shaitan always tries to haste for you. What is the solution for controlling the negativity because of the fire chakra? Or because and this is just below the diaphragm, and between the navel and the diaphragm is your intestines, where you have the stomach, your small intestine, large intestine, colon, and everything is there, right? When you don't have, when you're hungry, what happens? Fire burns in your stomach. When you eat food, the fire extinguishes. Literally there's no fire, but that is what the feeling you get in your body, that as if there's a fire and you want to extinguish the fire, right? So that's the reason it's called, they got a fire chakra. Again, solution to that is, so what is the thing? You become hasty, you become greedy, power hungry, whatever it is, you could say. What you have to do? You have to fast. You have to practice detachment. Just said fasting because fasting is another technique of controlling your physical, what do you call, needs, right? But the point I'm trying to make here is here again, you have to practice meditation, humbling yourself, surrendering oneself, right, to the higher level, to illallahu, to Allah, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, to Maula Ali, Maula Hassan, Maula Hussein. Look at their lives and how they sacrificed and all that, and slowly you give up on this, 21st century drama which is going on, corporate drama and all those things, right? So that's my point, right? So you have to practice detachment. Okay, now go to the next one. The next one is heart chakra. It's in the middle of the heart. It's associated with love. What is it blocked by? Blocked by grief, hate, misunderstanding, pain, and suffering. I don't have to say anything much about it. A lot of drama in our lives. You know what is heart chakra. Heartbroken people. Bring the object of emotion in meditation, acknowledge the emotion, let the pain flow away. Somebody yelled at you, you say, well, it happens to people. You can bring in emotion like, people have stoned my Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Taif, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made dua for them. So I forgive this person who yelled at me, move on with life. Kind of chakra meditation. Okay. The next one is in your throat, sound chakra, associated with sound, and it is associated with truth. I am talking to you with my sound, right? So it's associated with speech. Okay. It is blocked by what? By telling lies, by having haram existence. Eating haram food blocks it. Okay. Again, concept of haram and halal, please go back, and if you want to understand the path of kutubiyat, go and listen to the in this channel Zabiha presentation is there. It talks about what is real haram and what is real haram, halal food and all that. Okay, not the today's explanation of halal and haram. You can go and listen to that. Solution: purity of internal life with zikr, recitation of Quran, external life with pure livelihood and eating pure food also. Just to add to it. The next one on top of it is the third eye, light chakra, the light chakra, associated with heavenly light. The noor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was imprinted on the forehead of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, and Shaitan was asked to bow in front of the noor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the forehead of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, and Shaitan did not bow on that. Blocked by what? Illusion. Shaitan is blocked by illusion. I am made of fire. I am superior. Away from reality. Solution to that: you have to get rid of the duality of existence. Anallah kulli shayin muhit, Allah is everywhere. You have to experience that Allah is everywhere. You don't experience that because what? You are in illusion. So unless you cleanse yourself completely and you go and go look at each of the heart chakras, all that we covered, start cleansing, brothers and sisters. Allah loves you 70 times more than your own mother loves you. He's going to help you out with this thing. Kul hu Allahu ahad. I have talked about this in a lot of presentations. Kul hu Allahu ahad does not mean say Allah is one. Uh, Kul hu Allahu wahid means Allah is one. Wahid itnin talata arba khamsa. Kul hu Allahu ahad means Allah is saying, oh my dear Abd, you and me are one. The soul within you and me are one. So Allah is saying, remove the duality and merge into me. So what is the how do you block illusion? By getting to the reality of your own self, or by understanding your own soul. Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. Lead a simple life, but with higher consciousness as the aim in your life. Okay. The thought chakra, which is on the top, which is called also the Sahasra in Sanskrit, and associated with the Kudrat of Allah. Kudrat of all the powers of Allah, the wilayats of Allah comes from there, blocked by attachment to the world. Solution: practice detachment, zuhud, let go of worldly attachment till wala hawla wala quwwata illa billahi wa huwa al azim, or every power belongs to Allah. That starts consciously, you starts feeling that power. One is to say wala hawla wala quwwata illa billahi wa huwa al azim, and one is to realize and feel it. When you realize and feel it, you cannot write it in words, brothers and sisters. It's a unique experience which Allah bestows on you as a salik. Okay, and for every person, like your fingerprint, it's going to be a unique experience for you, right? And that is oneness with no separation, right? So this is the different levels of. So think about it now. We covered so much aspect of meditation, not just sitting quietly and focusing on your breath. You have to do a complete analysis of your own self, your fears, your negativity, your phobias. There's a lot of work to be done. This is all part of your meditation. So what you're not talking about going into meditation for 10 minutes before going to office, coming out of you're talking about meditative way of life. Okay, let me continue. Just a slide again. We're going to, the crux of the tough part of the presentation is definitely over, but still a little bit more to cover. uh, we are just putting a list of emotion, right? And anger, fear, distress, joy, disgust, surprise, shame, guilt, interest, contempt, sadness, hatred. I put the last one here. It's not, there might be more. Again, love is love and emotion, and we're going to have, we have another slide on for that. Okay, because love is what the reason why Allah created the entire universe. He would not have created the universe if it was not for the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because he loves his nur. The nur of Allah is Rasulullah sallallahu. He loves his nur so much, because of the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he created the entire 18,000 universe. Otherwise, he would not have created the universes. Okay, so what is the meaning of love? We need to understand that also. Is it just an emotion? And we'll talk about this in after a few slides. Okay. So benefits of meditation. Now that we have covered a lot of slides about benefit of meditation, let's summarize on benefits of meditation. Initial aim of meditation: to resolve all conflicts within my own self, internal first or external, which could be with my family or with my co-work or whatever, within own self first, and internal and external. What happens when you follow this different meditation techniques that we discussed? Whether it's breaking a habit or doing the zikr properly, where you say, Ya Allah or Ya Rahman, Ya Allah, you are not going to the meaning of Rahman, you're just saying Ya Rahman, Ya Allah, and waiting for Allah to send you that experience of Ya Rahman without going into the word of the meaning of Ya Rahman, which becomes a much more narrow-minded approach. Okay, disturbing thoughts will decrease. This is very, very important. When you start practicing all these aspects, disturbing thoughts, because you started cleansing your own, transformation of your own self has started. Automatically you will find, brothers and sisters, the disturbing thoughts which used to bother you before, like the sage, right, who went for 12 years in meditation in the cave in Himalaya. He got into a bus, somebody stamped his bloody toe, and he started yelling and cursing that fellow, and he suddenly realized, what did I do for the last 12 years? But if you are doing true meditation, doesn't matter. You will say, you know what, you will make an excuse. Like Jesus said, if somebody slaps you on your left cheek, show him the right cheek, let him slap there. Brother, you're happy by slapping me? Okay, great. Okay, let me move on. Who is stronger? Rasulullah, Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu said that the person who can control his anger when somebody is pressing the buttons, he is the stronger guy. Okay, but here we are talking about not just controlling anger. We are basically saying that before we even get to that, because think about it, a thought, then a sensation creates an image with you in that image. That's when then anger or jealousy and all those things come in the next. We are talking about even way before that, controlling that. Okay, the Sufi technique. Okay, disturbing thoughts will decrease, experiences, and the fast because of the thoughts decreasing, the brain activity will slowly decrease, and the brain will go into the observation mode. Remember, we said that observation without any judgment, that is another function of the brain. So again, I gave you an example here, just repeating it. Doing zikr, say Allahu Akbar. Don't, the mind comes and says, oh, Allahu Akbar means Allah is great. Even if the mind comes and gives you the answer, just say, I don't know what that means. I don't know, want your explanation. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, thank you. Keep going. Wait till the realization dawns and the experience becomes a reality of Allah is Akbar. Then the monkey mind furnishing you the meaning of Allahu Akbar. And this is something which you have to practice, brothers and sisters. Slowly and slowly, when you start practicing this thing, when you say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and you pray to Allah, Allah, I don't know what Allahu Akbar means. Ya Allah, please reveal it to me. My monkey mind says you are great, but I don't know what it means. Then Allah will reveal it to you. It's totally different experience, brothers and sisters. I cannot put it in words. Every Salik seeker has to experience it. I am giving this secret here. You experience it, that is your treasure. Inshallah, make dua for me, brothers. If it happens to you, Alhamdulillah. Okay, similarly, 99 names of Allah. Every attribute of Allah is an experience that you can realize. Salawat on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Shafiina Habibina Murshidina Muhammadin Nabil Ummi wa ala ahli wa sahbi ahli baiti wa barak salim. You keep on reciting salawat. Thursday night, if you recite salawat, there is a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, somebody who recites salawat 1,000 times, or there is another hadith says you recite inna atayna kal kausar fasali rabbika wanhar inna shaniyaka wal abtar. If you recite it 1,000 times on Thursday night after our day starts after Maghrib, right? So Jumerat, right? The Juma starts after Maghrib on Thursday night. You recite 1,000 times before Fajr. You will see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in your dream. Brothers and sisters, don't you want to see your beloved Rasulullah in your dream? Do it. If you recite it 1,000 times and it's not happening, which means some more cleansing of chakras, energy fields have to happen. We have to purify our own self, right? We have to do that. So these are meditation technique. So reciting the salawat and seeing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, reciting Naad Ali, which I recited in the first start of the presentation, and seeing Maula Ali, because I love Maula Ali more than my own self, right? Who is my Maula? Man kuntum Maula, fahada Aliun Maula. For whom Rasulullah is the Maula, for him Ali is the Maula, right? Maula Hussein, the Shahadat of Karbala, the love for his grandfather, that he let his body cut into and minced into pieces, but he did not bow in front of the transgressors, the Yazid, who wanted to literally completely demolish Islam within the 60 years of it coming, making it, just some hadith and some Quran, and that's it, with the essence being lost. It's the Shahadat of Karbala which is keeping Islam alive today also. So, there are other presentations on the same YouTube channel, Noor Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Fanafe Rasul. You can go and hear that talks about Karbala again. So my point is that, brothers, these are heavenly souls, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's family. If I have deep connection of my soul, Allah will show me them in my dream. I will see visions of them if I'm pure. That is where we should be living our lives, not fighting with each other. I don't have time for that in my life. My life is too short for fighting with people. So the point again, highlighting when reasoning and thought process stops, which is the limited activity of the brain, then the process of that is when the process of self-realization begins. So the mind has given up understanding the limitations, that it cannot touch the infinite. Reciting the kalima, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Mustafa Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, witnessing the third kalima, witnessing the nur of Allah Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you are reciting the kalima. Most of the people recite the kalima with their tongue because their parents or their ustad taught them. The Islamic school taught them. They have not witnessed the kalima with their own third eye. They have not seen the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of the benefits of meditation again is a sound sleep. We are going to talk about this thing because this is a benefit that you get. Good sleep is what? You are in the awake state. We talked about the awake state, where you're awake, you're doing your job, you're going to school, you're going to do whatever activity. Then the dream state, where you are sleeping but you're in the dream, you're dreaming, could be events which happened in the day-to-day life. Deep sleep state is where there's no more dreams and your body is completely relaxed. Okay, and that's when you get up from a deep sleep state. You say, oh, I just slept for 4 hours, and you felt, oh, you know what, but actually 8 hours passed away. You're totally asleep and your body is completely rested. So what are we trying to say here? What is dream state? Dream state, and we want to define this. Dream state is where you are semi-conscious. You get up from the sleep. You had a nightmare, or you saw something which happened. Your relative who was yelling at you in the dream, and you get up all tired. And it's not deep sleep state. So the point is that deep sleep state is not, as a dream state is not a fully relaxed state. The dream state, we want to say why dream state happens. Okay, and because this is again going back to the meditative aspect of your life. The dream state is the continuation of my daily sleep or the illusionary state. This is not the sleep when I'm talking about the sleep state. This is the sleep state where we are saying that in my daily life, when I'm awake, I am not in the present moment. I'm using my old database, memory database of my past. So my past controls my future. Okay, and that is the illusionary state where I am doing perception management, not reality management in my life. My daily life is in disorder and the disorder continues, so the brain says I need order to function, and so it brings in all those things back into your subconscious mind when you're going to sleep. The poor brain is trying to say, okay, Sajid, find a solution for this problem. So unfortunately, when you get up, because you have not dealt with that problem during the daytime, so now the brain is saying, I can't deal with this disorder function state. It is trying to find a solution in the dream state. You bring all the garbage in when you get up in the morning, you're having a headache. I said, damn it, I slept for 8 hours and I still have a headache. I can, it's a bad dream I had. And why? Because you have not used the meditation technique that we talked about to clear those negative emotions. If you clear those negative emotions, you will not have any disorder. So here the word highlighted, order emerges out of understanding of disorder, and you will fix it in your meditation state. For being in order, the brain becomes totally rested, quiet, and very deep sleep sets in. So a byproduct of meditation is you sleep like a small baby who is just born, sleeps for 10 hours, it needs milk, he will cry, the mama will feed her or him the breast milk, again goes back to sleep, doesn't worry about anything. That is how you should sleep, brothers and sisters. Okay, let me keep going. There's a slide about what is love. Let us analyze it. Very important to understand love. Is love just an emotion? Allah would not have created the entire universe if it was not coming of beloved Prophet Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Love cannot be created as a product of thought. Oh, I want to love so and so from day after tomorrow. It doesn't happen like that. Okay, so love just happens. So you cannot say I'm going to love somebody tomorrow. No fear. There is no in love. There is no fear. There is no anxiety. Where the very feeling of love is sacred. Love is eternal. Love is not, this is very important for the youngsters, love is not a result of desire, lust for a woman because she has got a beautiful form or a figure or whatever it is. Today's women are walking around naked, right? Showing off their bodies. So it is not what the woman represents, what she stands for, her values, her education, her social status. It is how much she exposes in Auzubillah, right? And Maula Ali talked about it. Maula Ali says a time will come when behayai means is dressing shabbily, is concerned, is looked at as showing of beauty, which is completely satanic, right? Malali talked about it. So love is eternal. Love is not desire or lust, right? Attachment or time bound. The moment we think in terms of time, then we are saying the intensity, the clarity, and the feeling of the wholeness disappears because now we are time bound. He better come back to me tomorrow, otherwise I'm not going to talk to him, right? Love it does not have bounds. Okay, the sense of security or permanency is due to fear bind us with time. She better talk to me tomorrow, otherwise, I'm not going to talk to her. Some kind of dialogue like that. Give an example. That is not love. And it talks about, in the slide a little bit more. Human relationship. If in a relationship where there is no demand for permanency and security, with all its complexity of attachment, fear, anxiety, expectation, is there a possibility of true love? If there is no demand for permanency and security, it is like a flower which is blooming. Love is not a thought, a desire, or a sensation. It is a different quality. Love is absent when there is a demand for permanency, security, confirmation. You telling your wife, you better make sure at 7 o'clock in the morning I have a coffee on my desk. What, she's a slave? No. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he used to run, you know, Umma Aisha Radhiyallahu anha, you know, he used to, have a running race with his wife. Umma Aisha Radhiyallahu anha used to say that, that when Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Aisha, when she drank water from a cup, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would move the cup to where Aisha's lips touched the cup, and he would drink from there. This is our Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. How much of humility he had, how he displayed his love to his wives, right? There's no demand, it's just total love there. Maulana Rumi, beautiful saying, he says, your task is not to seek love. And he's talking about divine love also, but merely to seek and find the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. This is so beautiful, brothers and sisters. Think about it. Your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all barriers that we have built. Even I myself, I'm not a great guy trying to lecture anybody. Even I have my own problems, brothers and sisters. So I have to, look at Maulana Rumi's saying, and I have to put it to practice myself. Okay, let me keep going and trying to finish this. Okay, very important, learning to be silent. Okay, it's the most important quality in the Sufi in this path. Silence is a byproduct of good meditation. As one goes deeper into meditation, he or she prefers loneliness. People outside think, oh, he has become very antisocial. No, man, it's not being antisocial. In fact, it is not loneliness, but the overwhelming closeness of that one starts experiences as Allah draws his abd or slave towards him, closer to him, becomes so overpowering that the five senses, which are the input for the thought to the brain, just suspends itself, and the man plunges deeper and deeper into a higher level of consciousness and timelessness. Walasar innal insana lafi kusar illa alladhina amanu salihati utawasaw bihaqqi utawasaw bisabr. Allah swears by time because Allah is beyond time, right? Initially, an attitude to distance oneself from too much socialization and giving more time to one's own inner self helps speed up the process of meditation. These are things that helps people, right? Keep going. So just this is just few tips here. Shutting one's mouth is half the job done. So talk less. You got 2 ears and one tongue, brothers. So talk less, at least half, and hear twice as much. At least do that. So if I make one sentence, I'm going to make sure I'm going to listen at least two sentences because I got 2 ears and one mouth. Simple. Okay, it is possible to become more silent. If you think too much of oneself, if I think I'm the great guy, then I think I'm very smart. How can I shut up? My thought process will be running around all the time. I'm trying to show the world how smart I am. If one realizes how much stupid I am, how much incomplete I am, and I don't know anything, as I said before, I don't know anything is a beautiful state. Then one starts becoming quiet because then when I don't know anything, I start into the learning mode now. I am going to the listening mode. It's a very good mode. There's a lot of things to listen to your own inner ear, to your spiritual ear. You have inner ear, spiritual ear. You have inner eyes. Every sense organ has got an inner spiritual organ too. You have to start going to a deep meditation, listening to what your inner eye is saying, what your inner eye shows you, what your inner eye is talking to you. But if you think that there is value to one's thought, then the process of thought generation will go on and you'll be always facing external. Your five senses should go internal. Most of the time for surviving, your five senses is looking out. Your eyes are looking out. Your ears are looking for sound. You should turn them inward. That is what the whole process is. If one thinks there is absolutely no value in one's thought process, then it's just memory recycling. Same old nonsense recycling itself, past coming back. One thinks it is stupidity, one will stop. What stop what? Generation of the chatter. The monkey chattering in your brain will go down. Hence the thought generation will subside, ego will start winding down, and slowly when ego starts winding down, your higher level of consciousness will automatically take over. It's an automatic process, brothers and sisters, and timelessness will start setting in. And one day it just happens because when your thought is completely subdued, you don't think great about your own self. You have trying to cleanse your chakras. You are trying to take care of your bad habits, your hatred, jealousy, all the negative years. One day the divine realm just touches you It's not because of your effort. It is the mercy of Ya Rahman Ya Rahim who is bringing you close to him. So the point is that out of contradiction in our lives, contradiction within our own self, the emotional drama, ups and downs, it is this conflict that we have to live in, and we suffer endless karma, and we create negative energy, we create negative thoughts, we bad mouth other people, we do a lot of bad stuff, and all this burden, the soul, poor soul, the body gets buried in the grave, the soul has to bear the burden. And it said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in hadith, the hands will bear witness of what was said, and the tongue is, is what will most of the time, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that in a hadith, that if you guarantee me two things, what is between your jaws and what is between your legs, right, I will guarantee you Jannah. So what is between your legs is the sex organ. Okay, people don't keep doing that all the time, but what is between your jaw, people don't have control over that. And it is said that on the day of judgment, the hands and the legs, everything will curse the tongue, saying that if you had shut up for some time, man, we would not be in this trouble. Okay, so that's what we have to do, learning to be silent. All these things will add up for your meditation. It is not just sitting and closing your eyes and say, watch the breath technique. If you don't cleanse these things, brothers, it's not going to happen. God realization, quickly going to cover 3 slides, and that will be the end of the presentation. Allah is not something God has created. Allah is not something, sorry, that man has created with his thought. He is eternal, outside the capacity of the limited mind, created for surviving. The limited mind's function is what? Created for surviving in this life on planet Earth. For realizing Allah, one should have a mind and heart which is completely free of the burdens of life. Vanity, ego, self-image, created from selfishness and self-centeredness. Qutb Baba Muhyiddin talks about inheriting the 3,000 gracious qualities of Allah. Our finite experiences act as barriers, as does our knowledge that we got from the book. We have to go into deep meditation. As I said, Allahu Akbar, one is the knowledge that Allah is great, the other one is what Allah bestows on you. You have to come to a certain conclusion which prevents further examination by the monkey mind. Need a quality of mind that is more earnest and deeply inquiring, waiting patiently at the door of mercy to relieve the ilm, to reveal the ilm of marifat, rather than using the monkey mind to create disturbances, trying to speed up the process of self-realization. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, is fighting your own nafs is jihad akbar. And this is a beautiful explanation. I just put it in. Ahmad is the name of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the heavenly realm. In Alame Arwa, it is Ahmad. Ahmad is who? The one who knows Allah, who praises Allah. When Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was given a body and he came in body form, the meme was put in front of Ahmad and it became Muhammad. Muhammad is who? Somebody who is praiseworthy because of his connection to Allah. He's the Habib of Allah, he's the Noor of Allah. That's the reason the meme was added. For example, Azan is a verb, that is to the call of prayer. When you put a doer in front of it, you say, me put the meme in front of it, it becomes muazzin, right? So azan is the verb, muazzin is the person who calls the azan. Similarly, Ahmad, Muhammad. So here the deep secret, Ahmad, you add lam to Ahmad, it becomes what? It becomes Alhamd. So Lam is, and this is all secrets from the Kutubiyat Ilm, and it is covered in other lectures. Lam is the wisdom, and the wisdom is which came from Maula Ali. Ana Madinatul Ilm wa Ali Babuha. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, I am the city of knowledge, Ali is the gate. That is the Lam we are talking about. Alif Lam Mim. Alif is Allah, Lam is Muhyiddin, which is the ilm of Kutubiyat which was bestowed on Maula Ali, and Mim is Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It is talked about in other presentations. My point is, when Ahmad and Lam, when Ahmad is Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and the wisdom, when it combines, it becomes Alhamd. All the letters of Alhamd is there, and that is praise to Allah. Lam is the wisdom. Darsul Anbiya, it's actually Darsul Anbiya, which is Maula Ali. This is a quick point that we have to note: realization of Allah, fanafe Allah. This is so beautiful. Mansur al-Hallaj, he became so fana in the zikr of Allah that he moved from la ilaha illallahu, right, to illallahu, to who is the zikr of the soul. And finally, from illallah, then he got to a point when he merged it to into Allah. He said, anal haq, then I am haq, because he couldn't see. His self was completely annihilated. And the so-called Sharia people at that time, they said it blasphemy because he said anal haq, that he is the truth. And they literally cut off his, his mutilated his body. And the blood which was dripping from, Mansur al-Hallaj, it formed the shape of, every drop of blood would form the shape of anal haq, anal haq, anal haq. And even today, the Sufi Ikram, they praise him as the one of the greatest walis of Allah, right? Because Allah did not let his death, because even though he was punished for blasphemy by, because at that time, even today, as today, it's tragic that people don't understand the Sufis, right? And they say, oh, it is biddah and shirk and all the crap. So Allah let his a name be taken till the day of Qiyamah in lot of, in as a wali of Allah. And that's the reason I'm taking his name too right now. So the point is that when he annihilated into Allah, Allah praised him even today, right? But look at Firaun. He said, Ana Rabbukum al-Ala, that I am the Arab most high, and Allah denounced him. So one is coming from complete annihilation of self, and Allah preserves his name as his wali, as his friend. And Firaun, he, because of his ego, he says, well, I am greater than Allah, and Allah denounces him. This is Shaitan, the same thing, right? I am made of fire, I am superior to Adam. So Allah says, you know what, keep your ego with you. So Allah will say, inna shaitanu aduun mubin, he's your clear enemy. What the heart sees, the mind cannot perceive. So beautiful. Okay. Conclusion, brothers and sisters. So finally, we come to the end of this. I hope, brothers and sisters, I know it's 2 hours, 15 minutes, but we have to cover a lot of topic. Meditation is not simple. Close your eyes, concentrate on your breath and say, Allah, Allah, Allah. A lot of other cleansing has to happen. Okay. One cannot meditate if you're connected to the form. Oh, I'm the white guy, or he's the black guy, or he's the brown guy. I'm a better Muslim, I'm handsome. No, brothers, you're in a state of shirk. Okay, you want to do, breath meditation, do whatever meditation you want. You're not going to go anywhere. You have to overcome that particular fault in you. You're connected to the external world, beautiful car, beautiful house, status in society, and you say, oh, I love Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Don't be a hypocrite. You're not going anywhere. You can meditate for the next 10,000 years. Nothing going to happen. Connected to images that I preserve, my ego, the commanding self, self-interest, self-centeredness. You're not going to go anywhere. Bondage to attachments, superior birth. I belong to the royal family. Ego. They're going to go anywhere. So unless one understands what is true love, one cannot meditate. Meditate on the highest reality we mean. It is better, this is a good saying, it is better to annihilate oneself or to completely destroy oneself, fanafe Allah, than to oneself than to sell oneself for the trinkets of this temporary world. Okay, it's still a better choice. And finally, a beautiful poem, Creator's covenant to the seeker, Allah to the seeker. One who seeks me finds me. One who finds me recognizes me. One who recognizes me starts loving me. One who loves me becomes my lover. One who loves me passionately, I kill him. What does I kill him means? He destroys the self, the ego. And whoever I kill, his compensation is due from me, from Allah. And what is the compensation my beloved Rabb gives? I am his compensation. This is so beautiful, brothers and sisters. So there is no meditation better than the meditation of going into illallahu, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. But this is not that easy. There's a lot of other cleansing to be done before that. May Allah Ta'ala bless everybody to accomplish this journey, inshallah, and get to illallahu. Amin. Let me go to the last slide here. Again, the beautiful mazar of my Sheikh Baba Muhyiddin, Coatesville, Pennsylvania. Very beautiful place to sit and do zikr and meditation to connect to your own higher self. The positive energy in this place is so much. It really helps you propagate yourself into higher level of consciousness and remove negative energy around you. Uh, Brothers and sisters, I know that we have discussed a lot of techniques here, and not all the techniques have been revealed because it's not possible on the internet. As you know, the limitation of this media. Again, this is my email. If you want to send me an email, we can always exchange phone numbers, and I can help as much little bit I can do. The Zikr Kutub website, all these presentations are all available on the YouTube channel where you're finding this thing. And inshallah, make dua for everybody. Inshallah, let's make a Fatiha for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Umma Amina, Abba Abdullah, Umma Khadija, Umma Fatima, Maula Ali, Maula Hassan, Maula Hussein, Umma Zainab, Gausul Azam Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilan radiallahu anhu. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin Ar-Rahman Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in Ihdinas siratal mustaqim siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim ghayril maghdubi alaihim waladdallin Amin. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.